Hi everyone. Today we are looking into factorization of quadratic expression part 2, whereby the coefficient of x squared is larger than 1. But before that, let's look at an example as a recap. X squared minus 3x minus 10. The first step, we write the brackets with x because it is x squared. And then we look at the last term, which is negative 10. 10 has 4 factors. We have 1, 10 and 2, 5. And we need to ask ourselves which of these will give us a 3, and obviously only 2 and 5 can do so, but one of the factors must be negative because it's a negative 10 here, so it's either negative 2 5 or 2 negative 5, and we want a negative 3, so it is the last option, 2 and negative 5. So we place it in and we can check again. 2x minus 5x, we get 3x. And that's how we factorize a quadratic expression like this. But for today's video, we are looking at a coefficient of x squared larger than 1. And this will give us more problem because we need to look at the factors of the first term here. And the factors of 2, they are 1 and 2. So we can start by writing 2x and x. And the following steps are similar. We look at the last term. 5 has 2 factors, 1 and 5 only, and we need to be careful where we place our 1 and 5 because different combination will give us different middle term here, and we want a 7x. For the first combination, it will give us 10x plus x, which is 11x, which we don't want, so this is incorrect. But the last one, 2x times 1, we get 2x, then plus 5x, this will give us the 7x. So this is the correct answer. And that is how we factorize when we have a first term that is more than 1. Let's look at another example, 3x squared plus x minus 4. The first step, looking at the first term, 3x squared, it will be 3x times x. Second step, we look at the last term, negative 4. 4 has a factor of 1, 4 or 2, 2. And we need to ask ourselves which of these will add up to give us positive x. And be reminded, because it's a negative 4, one of the factors must be a negative. And then now let's look at all these possible combinations. Let's look at the first one. Without putting the negative value, we just look at this. These factors of 2 will give us 2x and 6x, which will never give us x. So this combination is out. Now let's look at 1 and 4 now. Without putting in the negative numbers, we just place it in this order, because these two orders will give us two different number of x here. The first one will give us 12x and x, which will never give us positive x, but the second one, this is possible, so we rule out the first one. And now we need to place in the negative value. So where must be the negative value? It must be 4 minus 3 to get positive 1. So it must be a negative 3, so the negative must be here. And that's how we get our factorization. And we can actually check again. 3 times negative 1, we get negative 3x, and then 4x, we add up, we get positive x. Now you might be wondering, now this is rather tedious because it is all about trial and error method. And no worries, I'll be sharing a method with you as to how we can do this faster without trial and error. But first, I need you to know this method because this is how we get it from the beginning. Okay, now let's look at an example which is more complicated, which we are going to use the faster method to solve it, which can be applied across all types of quadratic expressions. And now we look at 4 and 9. You know that 4 has more than 2 factors, and 9 we have more than 2 factors, which this will give us too much of trial and error. So the fast method will be this. First, we multiply the first term and the last term. 4 times 9, we get 36. And then we need to ask ourselves, what are the factors of 36 when they add up will give us the middle term 15? So we think 116, no. 218, no. And lastly, how about 4 and 9? Still no. How about 3 and 12? Yes, 3 and 12. So we go by this method. We identify the factors of 36. Then we add them up. We get the middle term. And that's not the end yet. We need to divide back with the coefficient of x squared, which is 4. And once we divide it, we need this form, this fraction, to help us in the answer. So even it's a 3, we write 3 over 1, because this one is going to be helpful for us. So now let's look at the denominator. We write our answer. First is 4x, and then because it's 1, we just write x. And then the last number at the back is actually the numerator. So we write plus 3 and plus 3. And if you expand this again, we'll definitely get this term. 4 times 3, 12, plus 3x, we get 15. And then 3 times 3 is actually 9. So that's the faster method in solving the factorization. Just one more example. Alright, in this case, let's repeat the method again. We multiply the first term and the last term. 4 times 6 is 24. And what are the factors of 24? Will be added up to negative 11. Notice it's negative 11. Alright, so it's actually negative 3 and negative 8. Because negative, you actually get a positive number. And the second step, we divide again by the coefficient of x squared. We just keep the negative on top. And now let's repeat again. The denominator we write as this form. And then we put in the numerator at the back. So let's check our answer. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And then this is negative 3, we get negative 11x. Negative 3 times negative 2, we get positive 6. And that is how we solve a more complex factorization of quadratic expression.